Okay. Hello, everyone. So we will wait for Madame Genta. A few minutes. Hi. Cool. Hi, Nicholas. So we wait for Madame Genta. She will come in a few minutes, I hope. And we will try to investigate about the Gerald Genta Association heritage, and to talk about the work of the master. Evelyne, are you there? Hello. So, well, I started at 10:58 for Paris time, so I was a little bit in advance. So maybe that's why. But I'm sure we will make it anyway. It's always, you know, the beginning of the live is always like technically weird, and we always find this is not really safe because the connection is not immediate, and I cannot see Madame Genta. So, oh, okay, she's over there. Here. Yes.
Hello.
We did it.
We did it.
But the beginning of a live is always a mess.
Yes, it's always a bit worrying if the connection is going to work or not, but it's been our life for the last 3 months.
Sure. So how do you do?
I'm fine, I'm well. We're slowly getting out of confinement in England, so life is a bit brighter.
Yeah, for sure. It was time.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Okay, so we would try to see a little more about the association, the Gerald Genta Association Heritage, and so I got a few questions. First of all, when you start this project, you told me that the idea was really to have the memory of the work of your husband a little more, you know, focus, because of course the brand now belongs to other people, and even if there is of course a very big number of collectors who still love the work of Gerald. So what was the idea and the start of the project?
I'll tell you, the defining moment was actually, you know, in all the press, you had constant, the last 15 years, you had constant reference, obviously, to Gerald about the Royal Oak and the Nautilus, and we will talk about those, and I'm very happy and proud. But a lot of collectors with whom I have kept close contact from our days to today started, you know, being in touch and saying, you know, you really should pay tribute to your husband, because Gerald is so much, and I'm not saying, you know, these watches are fantastic, but Gerald is so much more than that. They knew about it. They would come to me and sometimes say, can you still make us a watch out of these incredible designs? So they say you need to pay tribute to your husband, because it is a bit, and they would always compare him to an artist, like saying, you know, it's a bit like a big artist, people know about his major works, but maybe he's done so much more that is a legacy, and you have to let us know about the legacy. And the redefining moment was this gentleman from Dubai, was 25 years old, rang me up and said, look, I really want to know more about Gerald Genta. That guy, Laurent, knew more about my husband than you and I put together. He started asking me lots of questions, and I realized that there is a huge legacy that has been somehow obliterated by nobody's fault, but it's just sort of literally, and I need to pay tribute to that and also to make it known. So therefore, the idea was to have Gerald Genta Heritage, which made sense. And as soon as the idea began to be put together, I chatted to different collectors, and I chatted to you, and I chatted to other people, and they all said, well, come on, put a group of people who you really trust, who will do two things: understand his legacy, and of course, there has to be something that Gerald would have liked, which is support, if you find the right ones, new designers. Because as you know, Gerald was always about designs. Obviously, in our factory, we had incredible workers who did these amazing movements, and that's how we came to a Grande Sonnerie or something. But it wasn't Gerald doing these little things. It was about designs. And so therefore, Gerald Genta Heritage will be about spotting new designers, giving them a prize, putting them, maybe giving them help, advice, and this should have started soon. But so we put together a good team of people, on which part you are, the Gerald Genta Heritage, and I think we have 16 members of really, really recognized watch authorities. And this was the birth of the Gerald Genta Heritage Association, which should actually have been launched at I think it was the 20th of April at Geneva, in accordance with this incredible exhibition we were preparing on Gerald's work. But of course, we are in confinement.
But so the idea will be, because you show me also that you have like a tremendous numbers of drawing.
Yes.
From, I mean, some watches who were produced, but also some others drawing that the watches just.
You know, the thousands of designs I have got here, in a way, they're a collection. They couldn't be put apart by saying, this is 1980, this is 1990, this is 2000. First of all, as you know, Gerald designed literally until he passed away. Every day he would design. So he designed a lot of designs after we sold the company. But really, you see the Gerald Genta trend. So you cannot separate some. But the thing that they all have in common is that they are designed to be manufactured. A lot of designers have these genius ideas that look spectacular, cannot be made. And that was what drove Gerald mad. And that's why all our watches were only drawn by him, because we kept getting designs. He says, fine. And then his designs are so precise that you give them to the manufacturer. I did that for my daughter's 30th birthday. I pulled out a design that had never been made, gave them to somebody in Switzerland. The gentleman never phoned me once. The design is so precise. Le calibrage is so right. If there is going to be a diamond and it's 0.50 carat, it is designed 0.50 carat. So all the guy had to do was to produce it. And therefore, in these designs, there are so many incredible ideas of forward thinking. You know, when he did the Royal Oak, everybody thought he was mad. Well, all these, I mean, when you think that the other day I found a prototype, I have the actual watch of a Batman watch. Now, Gerald was already thinking of these superheroes, but not just sticking the Batman on the watch, you know, which would be easy. The case is strong. The case talks of superheroes, and it is a Genta. So these designs are, some are literally designs that should be in the Museum of Horlogerie, you know, for being the first. And some are the next bestsellers. But Gerald only liked the next watch and the next watch. He never stopped. That was maybe his mistake, but his genius.
But the thing is funny because, I mean, to do a superhero watch at the time he did was, I mean, really in advance.
I mean, you know, today 90% of the movies are Marvel movies, and there was my husband designing a Batman watch. And you know, there are so many ideas. As you know, I know you're a guitar lover, and remember I sent you that design of the guitar watch, and it is endless. But also taken seriously, there are the future bestsellers, because we need to have new models. We cannot always make the watches bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. You remember Gerald used to say, are they going to wear clocks?
Yeah.
Do you remember La Pendule du Village? He used to say on the wrist, because how much bigger are they going to make them?
Yeah, but you know, the last time that he came to the shop, I mean, maybe a year before he passed away, it was looking at everything, you know, with a big interrogation in the eye, looking all the watches, you know, and at that time everything was very big. And I say, but people are nuts, you know. It's not. And of course, today when we wear a Genta, because of the because of the, you know, the cycle of the volume of the watch, time after time, we can feel sometimes this is they start to be a little small. But finally, when you wear it like this,
Yes.
finally, you know, we go back to the code, the proper code of the elegant watches as it was always thinking, in fact.
You know the way he did it when he made a new watch, which was all the time. He would make a prototype, and he would wear it, and he would say the watch should sit on the wrist. It should be anatomic. It should be pleasant.
Yeah,
And
because
also,
there,
yeah, and also for a man, the shirt shouldn't catch in it every 5 minutes. And he would wear that watch until he felt it was pleasant to wear. Today, if you wear, okay, if you're wearing t-shirts, fine, but otherwise?
no, but the thing also about the ID, you know, when Apple come with the Apple Watch, it was also, you know, with the Mickey Mouse dial. We go back to the point. You know, it was the first to use the fantasy, as I said, with and when the Apple Watch came out, I was, you know, really smiling, thinking to him and say, "Hey, Gerald."
Good for him, right? But that Mickey Mouse was such a pretty story, because Mr. Eisner was in those days the CEO of Walt Disney, and he had a mom, and he loved Argenta watches, and he had a mom who loved Bambi, and he came to Gerald and he said, you know, can you do a Bambi watch for my mom? And Gerald thought, okay, Bambi watch. And so he drew the Bambi and then had a little butterfly going round telling the hours, you know, so it was pretty very big butterfly. And Mr. Eisner came back and said, you know, my mom is thrilled with it, whatever, really happy. And Gerald said, look, would you trust me to do some Mickey Mouse watches? I mean, I know everybody, I mean, you know, you have a lot of Mickey. My Mickey Mouse will be, first there will be few of them, and they will be super special. And Eisner said, for you, yes. So we did get that contract with Disney, and every year they would send us like all those lawyers. But in fact, for us, there was a small production, so the lawyers in the end didn't have much to do, you know, to check how many watches we'd made. But we even made a Mickey Mouse minute repeater. And he did also a clock, which is which was lovely. It was you know, when Mickey is a magician and he has the wand and the broom and the bucket, and so Mickey moves with the broom and the and then you get the music, you know, da, 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 da. And these are works of art.
No, and also it was really funny. You know, when we start the shop with only the Genta watches, I remember at the first Basel fair that I went with my father in '87. When we look at the fantasy collection, my father was a little, you know, old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Honestly, are you sure? And forget it. You don't have to sing about it. It will be a success because we sell a lot of them, and it was really true because right away we start to sell for the ladies' watches, all in the gold and gold collection with
Yes.
yellow gold with the beanie, and it was always, you know, really funny to see because when you look at the precision of the die on the mother of pearl basis and the draw, I mean, this is really something, you know, out of every Mickey watches, of course. And I remember when Disney opened the Disneyland near Paris, I went there and I saw, of course, they sell like
Thousands, millions.
stuff, but they reserve a special area with the precious Janta Mickey Mouse, and it was like, you know, makes sense because a lot of people say, oh, okay, in that kind of shape, I'm ready to buy it.
Yeah, that was special. I'm wearing a Scrooge today.
Oh, cool.
Scrooge. We didn't make many Scrooges, but I thought that was cool.
But I remember also because one time we received the Pink Panther,
Yeah.
and I asked Gerald, and I said, "Oh, but you got also the rights about the Pink Panther." He said, "But this is Disney." I said, "No, this is not Disney."
No, no, did not clue.
He said, "Oh my God! So, okay, please keep this watch away because of." And I think there is just a few on the market.
Very few.
I'm trying to get one for years because
I don't have one either. Funnily enough, Gerald was not a collector.
yeah,
So, as you know, he wasn't. So, because he already liked the next watch.
of course. But you know, this is also the reflection of a lot of collectors. The good watch is the next one.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But
It could,
to go back to the association, I can. I don't know if I'm wrong, but I feel that you 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 have maybe the feeling one day or another. I don't know how. I don't know also under what brand, but do you have the idea to go back on the market?
yes, as you say, in one way or another, and I can't say more, obviously, but these designs are not meant to remain silent. They must exist. I have myself produced a few watches from these designs, with no name, of course, because the name belongs to Bulgaria, and it's absolutely fine. But I know the designs that should be produced, I think. I even have prototypes that I think should be produced. So one way or another, we are being approached, because this is unique. What is there is unique. Imagine if Fabergé had disappeared, but Fabergé had left all these designs. Somebody somewhere would have said, "Okay, I will." It's not. Of course, the name is important, but it's not always about the name. Gerald, when people, I mean, the Royal Oak is sometimes better known than Audemars Piguet.
For sure.
For sure. So what I'm talking about is designs. I have a daughter who's very, very interested in her father's work, who's very creative, who's pushing me to do that. And I know that these designs will live again. And I promise that Gerald needs to get the recognition for so many pieces and not just for a few. Because now you have factories calling you and saying, can we see the design? Can we produce your designs? It's a collection. It is a whole thing. It's unique. You know, if the exhibition had happened, which it will happen next year, by the way, at SCHH, if nothing else goes wrong, hopefully, you will see it was beautifully presented and staged, and you can see the evolution of Gerald Genta, but it's still Gerald Genta all the way through. Le fil est toujours là, and we will be lent pieces from incredible collectors that have never been seen. So if the brand itself has so much to say. Gerald Genta has so much to say. The history is there. Nobody has to make up. You don't need a brilliant marketing team to come up with brilliant ideas. You know how in the old days, they don't do that anymore, but they used to dig up the name of an old Swiss watchmaker somewhere in La Chaux-de-Fonds, La Vallée, who had been there in the 19 or 18 something, and make a brand out of him. No, that is a true story. It's there. It's somebody who every morning woke up, took his compas, did a round like this, and started designing a watch. And I would always say to him, what are you designing? I don't know. It's coming from up there, he would say. I don't know whether it was or not, but that was it.
And he break the octagon with the compass.
Completely. I still have the compass, and ding, it would cut it like this, and the design would be born. And the design is painted. Every design I have is painted. It's unbelievable.
Which is I got several draw over there. I will try to show because this is always industry, but this is always I mean, just the draw is always amazing.
Yes.
And when we see also the proportion, as you mentioned,
it is perfect. It is ready to be manufactured.
Yeah, and this is funny also to turn from the final design and the idea between.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. There were
and to be able also to go to totally other style, like Art Deco.
This was made for Hermes. The one you show was made for Hermes. And if you look at it, you can see the Hermes idea there. Gerald loved Hermes as a brand.
But which is very also interesting in some time, because the creation was so huge. Sometime I can find some watches, and I don't even have to ask if it is a Genta project. This is really true with Seiko, for example, that I find a lot of experience that I say, okay, there is no doubt that Genta was behind the pencil. And
Gerald had very enjoyed very much Seiko. Up to his last days, he said that, and that didn't make him very popular with the Swiss watch industry, but he said that the Japanese quality was always excellent.
For sure,
always.
And when I discovered a long time ago this one,
this is Seiko,
the locomotive Credor Seiko, I was hunting. Finally, I find it.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah.
I don't believe you have it. I never found it.
And I tried to convince the people of Grand Seiko to do something, to do a re-edition. Of course, this one that time was a ladies' watch, but with a quartz movement. And I mean, they can just do the same for men with a wonderful movement. They know how to do it. And I got some of my Genta over there also. Yeah, the perpetual calendar. But this one was really funny because this one is a repeater, flat
Yes.
repeater, and
Very flat, huh? Very flat for a repeater.
it was in a set, night and day. So the
Ah.
yellow quartz movement for the day, and the mechanical platinum minute repeater on the other side.
Oh, you have all those. That's fantastic. You've got more than me.
Perpetual calendar.
Very, yes.
This one was a
But you,
fantastic.
see his perpetual calendars, Laurent.
Yeah.
Most of the perpetual calendars, if you are painted, okay, on the dials in all the brands.
Yeah.
Gerald said, no, the sky must be in lapis lazuli, the moon must be in gold.
Yeah.
She's so striking.
And it was also, you know, on the reflection that some people got the dial with the moon phase sometime at 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, or 9 o'clock. And he was totally mad about that. And every time he told me that, no, the moon is at 12 because we have to look up because the moon is in the sky.
But it's very true. And the only other sky like this you will find is in the Quartier Pacha, because they were made by Gerald. We had a wonderful relationship with Cartier, and we enjoyed every minute of it. And that was the Quartier Pacha. So he made their sky oval, but you still got the lapis lazuli sky and the gold moon, and this is more precious.
Sure. And one of my favorite was the golden gold.
Oh yes.
The skeleton one. Of course, I was loving the same version with the repeater.
Of course.
I still have, you know, the picture
that was beautiful.
Had in the back window.
We did. We had a lot of success with this model in Asia, and especially in Singapore, because you know the octagonal shape, the 8 brings good luck in Asia, and we did very well with that shape.
And of course the safari, the Jessica safari.
Difficult to find them, huh? Very difficult to find them.
And this one is really one of the first, and we can see, you know, when you look properly, the case very close, that it was really, you know, made piece by piece, and the sled dial is always like amazing, and after, of course, all the evolution with the tortoise shell on the chronograph.
And the real Jessica, which had the compass on the buckle.
And
we had a gentleman who was going to do that rally, Paris-Dakar, and he bought that watch. And he said, this is fantastic because I have everything I need with my watch and my buckle. And Gerald kept saying, yes, but you're going to make a compass as well, aren't you, in the sand because of us, because we're not sure the compass will work.
Yeah, it's sure this is probably a little small to be
yes.
And we got different evolution, that the stainless, it was later on, and with the stainless steel band.
Great watch, Jessica, great. You see, so people think he can only do octagonal because they're now obsessed, but I have watches now here. You know, I was looking today through my chronographs because I had a collector who called me and said, you know, I'd like a new chronograph. And I looked at that, and there are so many new shapes of chronographs that are just among the designs. So much can be done. You know, watches can be much more, like he invented the integrated bracelet, but I was looking at the bracelet. There's a variety of bracelets he just made up all the time.
Well, you know, my father the other day comes to the shop to change the battery on the Jessica clock. I just forgot.
Did you make a Jessica clock? Oh yeah, we did. Yes. Oh yeah, we did.
Yes,
oh, we did.
And the base, and the base of the clock was a real case of a safari watch. So, and my father, you know, he said, "Oh, could you change me the battery on that?" I said, "It bring me back 30 before, you know.
That's
It
right.
was like,
Yes,
wow.
absolutely. He made a golf clock as well. Do you remember when
Yeah,
he was doing, when he did the golf? We went through the phase when he liked golf, and so he did golf watch with the four dice that you
yeah,
go
yeah,
each, yeah,
yeah.
and then he did, yeah,
To count for four player,
and
with
then
the
for one client who was golf mad, he made a series of 12 retrograde watches with the golfer. Therefore, the club goes round and the ball, and with the names of the best golfers of those days, and he gave them. And I asked the client, I said, "But because you're going to give them away?" And he said, "Yes, I'm going to give them to each player. Next time I go," I said, "So did the players enjoy?" He said, "No, they're too beautiful. I kept them for myself."
no, but the thing also was the the capacity also in this factory to be able to do almost whatever the customer wants. And this is something really, you know, rare, because of course there is a lot of institutional brands, even some independent brands. They always say, okay, if you want to do something special, we listen. But the reality is always quite far away of what I knew with Gerald. You know, at the right beginning, when we opened the shop in 1988, one of the one of the first customer who come at the end of the year 88 come to the shop, and he look at a watch. At that time we were much more open about the movement. So I mean, quartz was not like something.
No, no.
Yeah, you know, we got a lot of people that they didn't care. They buy some perpetual chrono like La Bomba with a quartz movement, and they say, I'm fine. I don't, I'm not
Easier.
familiar. Yeah, easier for me. Yeah. But even if most of the time the Janta collection, the proposition was always with the manual way, the
Yeah.
automatic movement, or the quartz one, and the gestion of it was really difficult because there is so many draw, so many pieces, and so many possibility. As I told you the other day, you know, when we went to the Basel Fair every year, and we go back with all, you know, the
Yeah, I remember
all
that.
the copy that the copy machine
Yes.
in the booth, and it was like, you know, something really unique because I mean nobody.
Unbelievable. Who had that? But you know, you asked me, would I do something with this design? To me, if I was a watch company and I had these, I would be back. I would think of couture, haute
Absolutely.
couture. If I was me, I would have this and saying this is haute couture, and you can choose what you like. And
Yeah.
then I would have the prêt-à-porter, on which I would select one or two models that I know can be the next bestseller, but I would always keep the haute couture. That's what we were about. Uh, that's why there is this wealth of he could make bestsellers. Nobody else could like him. I mean, the IWC, the Paul Héronteurs, you know, you can go and go. And there's still other bestsellers there, but no designer today, no watch brands does the haute couture. You go to Dior, you order a beautiful wedding dress, it's your own, haute couture, and then you go to wonderful prêt-à-porter. And this, to me, should be the model. But they
But
can't
that
do,
was
you know.
that was, you know, the customer comes to the shop at the end of the year 88, and he look at the gold moon movement. So it was day, date, second time zone, and moon phases, and it was a quartz movement, and it was on the gold and gold collection. And this customer asked me, say, okay, I want to do gift for Christmas, so I will need probably something like 10 watches like that. But could it could it be possible to have a third time zone instead of the moon phases? And I say yes. And I say yes because
You knew
I
we
don't
would
even,
do it.
I don't even have to call Gerald,
Yeah.
to ask the possibility. And when I call him, he say, yeah, of course, it's no problem.
But he enjoyed doing that.
It's just a question of time.
He enjoyed
we
doing
will
that. When
work.
we were in Singapore, you know, we had a very strong relationship with the Hourglass.
Of
We
course.
grew with them, and we owe them a lot. And they were, you know, they're special. They're wonderful. But we would be going back to the hotel, and then Mr. or Mrs. Tay would phone and say, "Come back. There's a special client." Gerald would listen to him and try to understand and design on the spot something else. But all these designs are there. Making a watch personal is not just sticking the initials on the dial, because anybody can do that. Anybody can put your photograph on the dial. It is just making it special. And I really think we have everything we need to be haute couture and prêt-à-porter, and nobody else does that.
So by the way, of course, it was another time. It was another market.
Yeah.
What was the way to at one moment sell the company to the Hourglass?
I tell you what, we lived in Monaco. You know, I come from Monaco, and Gerard loved the Côte d'Azur. He loved the light there and everything else. So it meant for him every week to commute to Switzerland.
Yeah.
And he felt like he preferred to stay in Monaco. We had a great relationship with the Hourglass, and so we felt maybe it's time to, you know, he wanted to be free. He wanted to be free to just design, because in fact, the commercial part was always a pain for him. He didn't like it. He left it totally to me because he wasn't. In fact, I don't think he even liked selling his watches. I think if he could, he would have kept them.
Yes,
So,
but excuse me, at my opinion, it was a fantastic seller.
yes, if he liked you.
No, but because I mean, he didn't play a game. I mean, on the fact that when he said this is the most beautiful watch on the world, at the moment he said it, he believed.
Oh yes, it was in his heart totally.
And because of the way he speak and the way he move and the way he take the watch, everything, and we try to do something, you know, with a magician, to try to imitate the way of the presentation that he did. But of course, he was also the creator. So
yes, the way he touched it, the way he handled it. Do you remember the cotton gloves? He didn't want his watches to be touched without cotton gloves. But yes, he had a very, very personal relationship to it. But we did sell to the Hourglass, and not their fault, not our fault. I think the mistake was that they're retailers, and retailers are not manufacturers. They're the best retailers possible. They're brilliant. They love their watches. But they were not manufacturer. It's a different game. But we had wonderful opportunities with them. I remember going with them to so many places, and you know, in those days, the Mécène, the Louis XIV of those days were then the Sultan of Brunei, were then these people who allowed you to create incredible pieces, because what people don't know about Gerald is the automats that he created that were unbelievable. The way he would look also, for instance, when we would go to you were talking about people wanting to make presents. When we went to Morocco, the king asked him to make presents. And he said, Your Majesty, may I walk around your palace? And he said, fine. And Gerald just noticed the architecture, noticed the mosaics that there was, the Moroccan beautiful mosaics. And out of that came an incredible collection that I still have all those designs of mosaics, and 150 watches were made. Everyone was different with the matching cufflinks, all about the mosaics. That's haute couture.
For sure.
You know, so much to do. So yes, we sold to the Hourglass. I think they did their best, and I think as up to today, I think they probably still are very great supporters of Gerald Genta, because
Yeah.
I think it's in their heart.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. But finally, not a long time after selling the company, Gerald went back with his other name, Gerald Charles.
Yes, but that was more of a toy, and also maybe that wasn't with the right partners. So you know, Gerald was needed so much to do his watches that he wanted to, and now this is why I want to do them for him. I think that these watches need to exist, but with the right people.
Because in the same way,
It's like putting them in the hands of the right people.
because finally, after selling the company, after doing Gerard Charles, he went back also to see most of the brand that he used to work for.
Oh, and he worked with them. He worked with Patek. He worked with Van Cleef. You know, he's always loved Van Cleef very much. He still did watches also for individuals. He still did. We did watches for Joaillier, beautiful Art Deco watches. So he was never out of it, never out of it. But remember, Gerald's routine was he got up at 6, he would get to the office. When we had sold the company, he would paint in the morning and design in the afternoon. Every single day. That is why I have these masses of designs and also paintings. That's what he felt, you know, that's what he loved to do. So yeah, I think I owe it to him that this must, they must, and I love to hold the piece when it's finished, you know, it's so exciting, so exciting.
But I remember a movie, I cannot find it, that it was probably one of the first promotion movie from a watch brand. The movie was in Monaco, and it was sitting on the desk, and he called you like, Evelyne, could you bring me the most beautiful watch of today?
Yes, exactly.
You remember that?
Absolutely. And we had this huge safe, you remember? We had our offices overlooking the sea. And yes, and in there we had some incredible clients. We had a lot of Formula One drivers who came because, you know.
Yeah, I remember, precisely Ricardo Patrese.
Ricardo Patrese, he was, we had Nelson Piquet, we had Ayrton Senna, and I didn't know who they were because I wasn't following Formula One. And my husband just said, just go away, you're embarrassing, you don't know who they are. But he did for Nelson Piquet, he did the beautiful helmet, and the shape was in the watch was in the shape of his helmet and the colors. And then there was a client also for whom we did La Juventus. So you have the little player pushing the ball, and I hope I'm not saying it wrong. I think it's black and white colors. It's extraordinary what the imagination that went all the time, and nothing worried him. He did the Chinese horoscopes.
Yeah.
But again, not just the picture of the ox or the rat on the dial, but in the shape of.
Yeah.
I admire creativity so much, and I love doing that with him because I then had that allowed us to meet incredible people who, up to today, their children now are interested and phone and ask, because I'm surprised the young people, how young people know about Gerald Genta. I sometimes get requests on the heritage from really young people. Laurent, they know more than you and I. They know about, I mean, sometimes I can't even answer them. The questions are so precise. So I think that there is, this interest will last forever.
Yeah.
It is there.
Yeah. But the I mean, when we are talking like that, you know, I'm dreaming to see a new collection.
You will. You will. I promise you will.
Yeah.
Yes, I promise you will. I have, you know, I've worked on it. I will find a way, and there will be a new watch on the market designed by my husband, because it cannot only be about the past. It must be about the future, because that's what he was doing. He was terrible. Every time he was asked a question about the past, he'd go, no, ça m'intéresse pas. I'm only looking towards the future. Forget. I mean, very much so. We have got to be like he wanted. Mm-hmm. And you know how disruptive he was for the Swiss watch industry. Yeah. I mean, goodness me. I remember these Basel fairs where it was always, you know, he'd say what he thinks. So if he didn't like a watch, he said, no, it's not équilibré. It doesn't work. Can't you see? And
it was, you know, frankly direct.
That was,
I remember some time that it was really anger, just because the guy was taking a picture of a watch on the front window of the booth.
Oh, I remember worse. I remember we were in the booth. You remember our little booth at Basel Fair, and suddenly he saw somebody drawing, and I saw him come out like a bomb. And that guy was small, and he picked him up, and he was shaking him and threw him. And I said, "What is going on?" And also the drama. Do you remember the drama for the Mickey Mouse watch when we left in a fury, because the other watchmakers wouldn't have him exhibit his Mickey Mouse. And he said, well, if you don't understand Mickey Mouse, I'm leaving. And we left the exhibition with all the TVs.
But I think, I don't know if it is, I think, I remember that it told me that when the organization of Montré Bijou, it was not bad.
Yeah, Montré Bijou, yes, in Geneva.
And the organization start to say, okay, you cannot have some Mickey Mouse.
We had our windows stuck between two brands that you know very well, that I will not name. And both the owners of those brands said, Mr. Genta, this is a disgrace. How can you, you know, in the Swiss world, how can you put Mickey Mouse? And he went, well, Walt Disney brought more happiness to the world that all of you will ever do.
Well, it was also the old-fashioned Swiss spirit at that time, also.
Very much so. So the Swiss team...
but I think that Pierre-Alain Blum was not far, and I think that he said that if Gerald Genta leave the place, I leave the place too. Right away.
He did, and Alain-Dominique Perrin was even closer, and Cartier left as well. So suddenly the next day, the Tribune de Genève, you had Gerald Genta leads the rebellion, Cartier leave. So you can imagine how popular that was. But he used to love those things. I mean, I think he enjoyed them. You know, an artist has to be disruptive.
What a story. Okay, cool. So I think we will follow you very, very.
You will be the first to know. You will be the first to know. I promise you. I want the first new watch of coming out of the design of Gerald to be in your shop.
Cool. But you know, it was also really, you know, for me emotionally. Even if sometimes it was not easy, because as the story you mentioned, you know, I remember when I first received the watch, the first delivery, I called Gerald and I said, you know, I got a problem, because every prices that I order are not the same, and there is no equation, so I cannot find what it is, and something must be wrong. And he told me, but Gerald Genta is an artist, so I'm not an accountant. So I don't care. I say yes, but it's like a little difficult for me to do the work like that. And so he just hung off the phone. So and we start to talk 3 weeks like that. And at one moment I say, okay, but maybe can I talk to the accountant? He say, okay, please, Laurent, you just have to pay what you think you have to pay.
Yes, exactly.
So I say,
No.
so sometimes it was like, wow, what are we going to do?
Yeah, he was a maverick, but still that company did very, very well. You remember we had 2 factories, and that company did very, very well on his genius.
Yeah.
Really on his genius, and also on the high quality of the watchmakers we had, because after all, we were the first one to do that Grande Sonnerie.
Yeah.
And that Grande Sonnerie, which I'm sure you have, was incredible. In Le Brassus particularly, we had these watchmakers who were geniuses. Again, they were artists in their own way. They had to be left alone, They had to do their movement at their rhythm, the way they needed to be. But Gerald Genta was never... and the designs I have here, he was never a crazy designer doing crazy things. He was beautiful designs and then beautiful mechanism. But
I remember when just the summer before we opened the shop in Paris with the whole Genta collection, he told me, okay, you have to come to Geneva just to know about the spirit and the way the watch.
Do you remember his? That
Absolutely.
was
So I went to the factory on the Rue Saint-Jean, and so he showed me everything. He presented me to a lot of watchmakers. But after a week, he sent me to Le Brassus in the complicated division. And I remember that on the morning, I was just sitting beside a watchmaker, and the guy said, okay, you just have to look at what I'm doing. Okay. So after 2 or 3 days, the guy say, do you smoke? Yes. Okay. So walk around, have a cigarette, and come back, and we will talk. Okay. so I smoke my cigarette, I come back, and the guy say, you are too nervous. So I didn't say a word for the last 3 days. He said, yes, but I can feel that you're wondering, because I'm working on this movement and I got difficulties to achieve it. So the thing is, you have to understand one thing, which is true in watchmaking. It will take the time that it will take.
Completely. Yes. That was always la réponse. When do you have it? Quand on peut.
So whenever. The guy say, now you know that, so you will be more relaxed, and I will be more relaxed also to achieve that.
Absolutely.
And if it will take a month, it will take a month. If it will take 3 months, it will be the same.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I forgot to tell you, there's a book being written about Gerald.
Yeah.
It's going to be a book, not these watch books that are just, collection of watches, but a book about the person, who he was, his history, how, little by little, we're finding out that they have these designs of him, in most watch companies, which we didn't know.
No, but
it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, it's fantastic.
And we also have, because I'm digging for this gentleman, the more I dig, the more I find things. I found the Eyeglasses Collection that he has done.
Oh, yeah.
I have all the prototypes here.
Yeah, I got one Jessica Safari sunglass.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got those. I found the pens that he did, the belt buckles. It's endless. It is endless. So I think we've got exciting days to look forward to, because I believe the Apple Watch is something brilliant, and we will come into a world where there will be, hide all the tech, which obviously, or the super quality, or the super personalized, because in this world that going very tech, and obviously after all what
No,
we
but I
would
see.
live given,
I think we can resume that to the real luxury, because
yes,
luxury disappear years after years because the world is going like that, and the business model is not the same as the little company would do wonderful stuff with all the métiers d'art. And now, of course, to open, I remember when Cartier opened in the 20s, it took 10 or 15 years to open in London and another 10 years to open in New York.
yes,
Of course, today, people open like 300 shops worldwide with the same stuff. So this is more expensive product compared to luxury as we knew in the past, of course. So I think Genta was really that kind of spirit, doing a special dye, doing just one piece, doing maybe sometimes 5, 10. It was, the there is no production line. It was really à la demande, and
oui.
this is something missing for sure.
But I think things happen for a reason. I could have done that association 10 years ago. No, it is just right now. I think that this is the time when there will be a need for back to real quality.
Sure.
I really do.
I think we will be cut in a minute because I start at 55 or 56.
You're handling this. I don't even know how to do it, so
Well,
you do it.
I'm not handling, Instagram, got the lead. So I was really pleased to
It was
talk with
lovely
you,
to talk to you,
and
Laurent.
really impatient to see exhibition and more than the exhibition one day or another, some watches.
It's a promise.
Cool.
Lovely to see you.
Have a
Bye,
fantastic
love.
summer, and see
You
you soon
too. See you soon.
with good news.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye,
Bye
Evelyne.
bye.